Welcome to My Hometown, the program that explores clubs, organizations, businesses, and issues across Nassau and Suffolk counties and sheds light on the different towns that are making a difference.
Hello and welcome to My Hometown. I'm Bill Horan. Today we're going to learn all about Long Island Cares, the Harry Chapin Regional Food Bank. Their mission is to bring together all available resources for the benefit of the hungry and the food insecure on Long Island. Let's learn more from our guest, Dr. Jessica Rosati, the Vice President of Programs at Long Island Cares. Welcome to My Hometown on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Thank you so much for having me.
Dr. Rosati, tell us first of all how you decided to get involved with this organization.
Long Island Cares is the regional food bank for Long Island. It's one of the most, in my opinion, influential nonprofits on the island. We're serving over 221,000 Long Islanders with emergency food and supplies. So for me, Long Island Cares is one of the best nonprofits we have on Long Island. And I'm a little biased, but...
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. But I've been in the nonprofit industry my whole entire career. So that spans about 22 years. And I've been at Long Island Cares, fortunately, for the past 13.
You use the number 221,000. I'm an old math teacher, so I resonate with numbers. That's a big number. That's almost 250,000 if my math is right.
That's correct. So we estimate there's about 221,000 Long Islanders who are food insecure. Of that number, 65 are children.
65,000.
65,000.
Wow. And you use the term regional food bank. I don't know what that means. So can you explain how that would be different from another type of food bank?
Absolutely. So there's 200 food banks in the United States. There's 10 in New York State. We're the regional food bank for Long Island, which means we cover the demographics of Nassau and Suffolk County. And that's what makes us the regional. We cover the regional regions of Nassau and Suffolk County. And we're able to do that per the funding that we receive through the federal government and through New York State.
Now, can you take us through for our audience, what does an organization such as Long Island Cares do on a day-to-day basis? It's a regional food bank, but what does that mean to the people of Long Island?
Sure. So as the regional food bank for Long Island, we provide emergency food and supplies through our network of emergency food providers. So that's any food pantry, soup kitchen, or sheltered program that's providing a food service to the community. Think of Long Island Cares as the source. So we make those commodities available to our agencies, our food pantries, our soup kitchens, and our sheltered programs, so they can stock their shelves with the food that they need in order to serve the community who needs it. So there's about, 326 food providers that currently contract with Long Island Cares that we're actively giving food to then serve the need of Long Islanders.
Can you give us a few examples of one that we might have heard of or be in our area?
So think about the Interfaith Nutrition Network, right? The Inn, that's a very large food program on Long Island. Also the Nest here, right at home at Nassau Community College. The Nest is a food provider. There's quite a few, some larger than others. Lighthouse Mission is a very large organization. Pronto of Long Island is a very large organization. So those are all food providers that get their food from Long Island Cares in order to serve the community.
So like any good business, these smaller groups don't have to go out and, maybe they do, maybe people donate to them, but you provide them with the food. You're the group that helps them, and they're the arms that reach out to the various neighborhoods
Correct.
And sections of Long Island that might need it, that may not know about you, or if it would be too far to travel to where you are from where they are, these people can still get food.
That is correct. So any food provider with interest of providing food to the community, if you're a certified 501(c), you have your nonprofit status, you can go through the motions of becoming a member agency and a recipient of Long Island Cares.
Now, when I introduced you, I used the term Long Island Cares dash the Harry Chapin Regional Food Bank. And we were talking about this before the show. I'm sure a lot of people listening have no idea who Harry Chapin is or was. So would you tell us?
It would be my pleasure. Harry Chapin was a great humanitarian and also a singer and songwriter. He advocated on behalf of Long Island and Long Islanders well before Long Island Cares was established. He, alongside Bill Ayers, created Long Island Cares, the Harry Chapin Food Bank, in addition to Why Hungry Year, which is a national organization that addresses the root causes of hunger and poverty. Sadly, Harry Chapin passed away a year after Long Island Cares was established. However, we still have the great support of the Chapin family, and we keep in touch with our musical roots and do a lot of very cool musical things. So for folks who don't know who Harry Chapin is, I advise that you look him up and listen to some of his songs.
And I think you told me, and it was shocking to me because I was guessing, and I said, probably around the year 2000. He passed away, I think you said, was it 43 years ago?
43 years ago. He established Long Island Cares in 1980 and sadly passed a year later.
And what a wonderful legacy. We probably would have heard of him as a songwriter, and some of his songs are played regularly, and they're quite famous. But what a legacy to people, 221,000 that he's serving just this year, providing food to them. That's more meaningful than any song, music, play, movie, anything else.
True. And Harry Chapin used his celebratory status in order to advocate on the needs of people who were voiceless. You know, I think 43 years later, I think he'd be very upset that we're still in a position to meet this need, to serve people who are hungry. But within the same breath, we're incredibly humbled that we are able to. You know, it's sad that we have this need, but we're incredibly grateful that we're able to meet it.
And we talked before the show, but just to put it in perspective for our audience, I think you mentioned me. Sometimes there's people who are literally on one line 1 week, making donations, being very kind and doing something great like that. And the next week, they're coming to you for a donation because life changes quickly.
Right.
And none of us expect that. But tomorrow we could be on the line asking for help.
And that's just it. You know, the reality of the situation is many people on Long Island struggle to meet their basic needs. We live in one of the highly costing areas in the state. But with that said, we have a tremendous sense of community, I feel, on Long Island. Working in nonprofit for as long as I have, witnessing some of the catastrophic, situations that kind of arose over the years where people have been forced to be in need. Long Islanders care about one another. They genuinely support one another. And it is true that, a person who may be donating to our organization today may be a recipient a week from now. And we need to be conscious of that. Long Island Cares is in place to help any person in need, period.
Now, on a day-to-day basis, how does Long Island Cares help the people out there?
Sure. So Monday through Friday, our warehouse is open for delivery and for pickup among our member agency food network. Long Island Cares also operates our own direct service programs. So there's about 21 direct service programs that we operate that are serving in your community every day. We have 6 satellite offices throughout Nassau and Suffolk County that the public access daily for food assistance. We have a tremendous amount of mobile programs that go into certain communities, reach hard-to-reach populations like homeless, our seniors, our children, our veterans. So we have a lot of programming that's geared to specific populations. And just about every day, Long Island Cares is out there serving the need, feeding people, and making sure that people have continual access to nutritious food.
We don't think of it, even those of us who have heard of your organization, and I told you before the show, I'm someone, I get your letters for donations, and I respond to them, and because I think it's a wonderful charity for Long Island. And again, we never know when we're on the other side of that coin, and if someone needs food, obviously that's the lifeblood. How big is it, though? This sounds, when you're talking about programs in different areas and 221,000 people that you're serving, what are the number of either employees, or I don't know if you'd say it as volunteers, or maybe the combination that are working at Long Island Cares?
So we have 70 people that work at Long Island Cares, whether that's full-time status, part-time status. So we have a workforce of 70. But really, the magic behind everything we do rests in our volunteers and, the people who give us their time in a number of different ways. Any given month, we have hundreds and hundreds of volunteers participating in the food bank, whether that be sorting and repacking emergency food, delivering to seniors who are shut in, serving veterans at their post, wherever they're comfortable. I think for us, we're making things happen the easiest way people need it, if that makes sense, right? And it's a fairly easy concept to ensure that people have access to nutritious foods. Luckily, we have a hardcore team of volunteers along with our staff who make that possible.
I like that term, hardcore volunteers. We're going to get into that next.
Yeah.
But at this point in the show, I'd like to let our audience know that you're listening to My Hometown on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I'm Bill Horan, and today we're learning about Long Island Cares, the Harry Chapin Regional Food Bank. Our guest today is Dr. Jessica Rosati. She's the Vice President of Programs at Long Island Cares. Dr. Rosati, are the numbers, and I hate to ask this because I think I know the answer, are the numbers that you're serving going up or going down?
It's really interesting, Bill. Towards the end of the pandemic, as things started to slowly return to a new normal, we saw numbers decrease. And that was really positive for us because that meant people were going back to work and they were returning to a sense of normalcy. However, we're here now, right? So, we're a little fast forward, tail end of 2023, we're seeing increases. And I believe we're seeing increases for a number of reasons. First and foremost, a lot of the provisions that were put into place for the pandemic, just to make life a little bit easier for people to acquire the things that they need, they're gone. So all those provisions are now gone. People are back to operating pre-pandemic with less resources. And because of that, they're turning to the food bank for more support and to supplement their food needs. So across the board, through the programs that we operate, we're seeing about a 50% increase over last year.
50%, 50.
50.
Wow.
Of last year. The numbers are still a little bit lower than pre-pandemic, but what we find is people are coming to us more frequent. So although they may not be as many people, they're coming to us more because they need more of a supplement for their food needs.
Sadly, the other day I was in a supermarket and I wanted to take a picture of this because I thought it was a mistake, but unfortunately it wasn't. A box of cereal, a large box, but it was $9.
Oh, yes.
And that's the kind of food we figure, if you're kind of on a budget, maybe have cereal for dinner some night. That's probably more than steak or fish or at least up there with the price of it, but $9 for a box of cereal.
The cost of goods have certainly risen since the pandemic for us as well. I think one of the biggest misconceptions of food banking is that the food that we provide is donated. The majority of the food that we distribute, Bill, is purchased. So we're purchasing the majority of the food that we distribute. But for us, too, the cost of goods have risen. And because of that, our funds will not go as far as they used to procure the amount of food that we were once able to. So things are a little bit more expensive for us to get. They're coming in a little bit smaller in quantity because of the cost of goods, but yet our needs are rising. So there's certainly a balancing act that we kind of have to do with the food bank to make sure that we're procuring not only the types of foods people want, but in enough quantity. So we're serving the amount of people that's coming to us.
Someone listening now who says, I'd really like to help that. I feel bad for those people. And again, it could be any one of us next week or 10 weeks from now. Are there ways that we might not realize that we could be helpful, things that we could do? And again, maybe because we have extra time,
right,
or just we're willing to do it. So can you educate us?
Absolutely. And thank you for that. Volunteers can help us in a number of different ways by simply donating your time. Maybe you have an hour extra. Maybe that's something that your employer encourages, giving time to a charity. Come volunteer with us. Pick up some boxes. Donate, sort some food. Volunteers help us pack, help us deliver, help us call, help us manage, office aspects. So there's a number of different ways that people can give their time and or their resources. Generate a food drive on your block. Do it within your business. come up with a contest, have people donate funds. There's a number of different ways. So I encourage anybody interested in learning more and or giving back to go to our website, licares.org, and see those types of opportunities we have.
I love that last part that you said about the food drive on your block, because I think all of us, if we look, why did I buy that?
Right.
Maybe I was going to make some recipe with that and I didn't use it. Or maybe it's food that and I don't mean expired food, but food
Right.
that I've had for a while. And it's just sitting there. Or the spouse used to like it and they don't use it
Right.
anymore. And if people, I guess, just go up and down their block, which probably even small blocks is 20 to 30 houses, maybe more, but 2 cans of product from each house would be enormous.
It would be enormous to us and so easy to do. And think about our avenue right now. We're here on radio with Nassau Community College. Think about all the graduation parties coming up. Have a food drive with your graduation party. Instead of, giving to the grad or maybe not as much to the grad, bring a couple of cans of food. Long Island Cares will come pick it up.
Now, I mentioned expiration dates, and how are they, I guess we want to say real. I've seen some places that say, we don't want to ask for the expiration, and they said, sure, because within a few weeks, it's not going to make a difference. So
Right.
what is your policy on that?
Well, I'm a little bit older than probably some of our listeners, but when I was little, there was no such thing as expiration dates. We have nutritionists on staff that educate us consistently about food items, the safety of consumption with food items, and that importance of expiration dates. The majority of dates that you see printed on food is the dates that they were packed on. Necessarily, they're best used by dates. And that's the key word, best used by, right? So just like many things, after their expiration date, things lose potency. It's the same concept. But we do have a guideline that teaches us how far after expiration things are still good for consumption. And we educate our pantries and the people that we serve about those things. It's not necessarily bad things. The federal government mandates that you throw out meat and baby food past expiration.
Okay, sure, that makes sense.
Everything else is a suggested use by date.
And that's great to know, because I think some people think they're being insulting if they give you something
Right.
that says it expires at the end of the month. But maybe that's a safety date, but you've got 3 more months that or your experts tell you that it can be used. And if you're hungry, that still tastes pretty good.
Still tastes pretty good. And when in doubt, just ask. Ask us. Our golden rule at the food bank is very simple. If you wouldn't eat it, we don't give it out.
And obviously, that's a great rule. Now, what about opportunities for students? Sometimes we hear from our guests, students are so dedicated either through a school project or a service project, through their church or their scouting club or, any other organization. Are there some things you'd like to tell us that
Absolutely.
they could help you with?
So we have student programs that surround education, so educating our youth about hunger and poverty on Long Island and what that looks like and what they can do to help combat that. We also have older opportunities for students up from middle school all the way up to college to give students the opportunity to work in our pantries and to serve the public directly. It's a real eye-opening experience. But we've had students really be very creative. We have certain students that have created community gardens to increase the access of fresh produce to the people that we serve. We've had students that have geared towards specific dietary food drives for like gluten-free or dairy-free because so many people have allergies now to certain foods. So really our students are super, super creative, and we welcome any opportunity to partner with students from 5 and up. So if you have a child that you'd like to get involved with understanding the food banking industry, understanding what hunger looks like on Long Island, what poverty is, give us a call. We're more than happy to educate.
I would think to a teacher, a professor, or a moderator, I'm trying to think of all the different terms used in schools, but having them work with you, even if it's for a Saturday morning or one brief time, just to see how many people don't have that pantry like they probably do home, or easy access to a loaf of bread or jelly if they want it, and when they go, oh, I don't want this. It's,
right.
It's smells funny. Yeah, well, it's really good, but it might be from a different way of making it or something
right.
that people appreciate it. I think that should almost be mandatory, that they put in like 3 hours and just to see what the rest of the world is living with and, how much good they could do just by a small act of, I guess, going up and down their block. And speaking of that, like if they're running a food drive, is that what it is? Just their block, or is there a different way that
Oh,
that's
gosh.
done?
There's food drives popping up all over Long Island at any given time. Right now, we have a legislative pet drive going on with all our local elected officials on Long Island. A lot of libraries do ongoing food drives for us where there's a box to collect food in the majority of the library systems on Long Island. But really, food drives, we have a really creative staff member who will work with individuals on what their interests are. Depending on what your interests are, we can tailor things right around it. From the pandemic, we've gone a little bit more creative in acquiring certain food. We do online food drives for people who are more comfortable doing that at home. So there's lots of different ways to get involved, give back, be as creative as possible. And our job really is to give you the tools to do so, and then watch your drives flourish.
All right, that's what we like. And not only that, it's a lot of fun to see something that,
Oh, yeah.
whether it's children or seniors or just the average middle people in between the
Yes.
children and the seniors, just doing a good job and knowing that what you raised is helping somebody. Jessica, before we go further, I'd like to let our audience know that you're listening to My Hometown on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I'm Bill Horan, and today we're learning all about Long Island Cares, the Harry Chapin Regional Food Bank. Our guest today is Dr. Jessica Rosati. She's the Vice President of Programs at Long Island Cares, and she's telling us all great ways that we can help out. And she gave us that magic number, almost 225,000 people. So if you want to do good, this is the right place to get started. Jessica, can you tell us some of the annual events that are held that maybe we could take part in, or maybe it just fits our personality and it's like a win-win?
Well, one of the bigger events that's coming up in July is Wild About Harry night that is sponsored through Nassau County and is hosted at Eisenhower Park. And it's a night where we have a number of folk acts doing cover songs all surrounding Harry Chapin at the Harry Chapin Lakeside Theater right in Eisenhower Park. We'll be on site selling merchandise, collecting food. It's going to be a really wonderful event filled with music and really great people and just a really nice night. And that's something we do annually here in Nassau County. So I recommend people take a look at our website and get some info on that event.
I can tell you the radio station has done events over there. A summer's night over there. That's a lot of fun to get out. You're going to see your neighbors, your friends, probably someone you haven't seen for a while. You're doing good. And you said there's acts that are performing his songs, et cetera. So
it's a full night of entertainment, great music, great people, and it's something we do every single year under the creative leadership of Stu Marcus. So it really is such a wonderful event, and I would encourage any Nassau County resident can come and hang out with us this summer.
Do you get tickets ahead for that, or how does that work?
It's free.
Oh, we love those magic words.
It's
Did you say free?
It's
Notice
free.
I'm keeping saying free.
Bring your lawn chair, bring a bottle of wine, some cheese, and sit and listen to some good music and learn some stuff about the food bank.
Can't beat that, right?
Nope.
Oh, that's wonderful. Now, unfortunately, we're talking about people, and that's number one, but a lot of us have pets, and from what I hear from other guests, that is also a problem because that's expensive. And as you're trying to provide food for yourself,
Right.
who you have to cut. Someplace you have to bend the rules a little bit. Do you also collect pet food, and how do you help out there?
Sure. We actually created Baxter's Pet Pantry back in 2009 in the height of the Great Recession. And that's because...
Say that name again, I'm sorry.
Baxter's Pet Pantry.
Oh, I love that. Was that the name of a pet?
Yes.
I thought so. Okay, that's good.
And Baxter's Pet Pantry was created at the time when we... The United States was in recession, and people were forced to really make those difficult decisions of feeding themselves or their pet. Our pets are our family, period. We made a conscious decision to start sourcing pet product and making that available through the Emergency Food Network so people wouldn't have to make those choices. Baxter's was created as a result of that. We partner with the Animal Relief Fund of New York City, all corporate, PetSmart, Petco, you name it, we get it. And also Feeding America, our national sponsor of food banking, they also make pet food available to us. So pet food is offered through all the food providers that we support. We also have a standalone pet pantry in Lindenhurst that the public is able to access monthly for food support, pet food support, if they need it. And that's very easy to do. Online, we have a appointment system. They could schedule an appointment, come on in, and shop for their pets. Under no circumstances whatsoever do we want to see families break up, and that includes our pets. We have to take care of them too.
Oh, and that's heartbreaking, and of course we love our pets. And the medical world, I think, will tell us if we have a pet around or someone to take care of, it actually increases longevity. So all sorts of good things and good results from that. Let's say someone is moving, and I'm just thinking if this would be a source of food. They're moving to Florida. They're not going to pack up their pantry and take their Rice Krispies and their half-eaten jelly, I don't think, with them on the plane. And not that you wanted something that's been opened or like a half-eaten jelly. I was kidding about that. But the products that are still viable or maybe in their freezer. Is that a route that people could come to?
Absolutely. If you had unopened items and you are looking to donate them, we will take them. The only thing that we cannot take is opened items, and that's because we have no control of how they were stored.
Sure.
So we have to ensure that the food that we distribute has been tempered properly, and that's why we only take unopened items.
If someone has this, though, and they say, oh, I never thought of that. I'm moving or I'm going to my daughter in North Carolina or something. What do? Do they call you or do they take the product down to a local store? Is there a box that they could leave it in?
And it's really their preference. So we'll pick up anything over 100 pounds. If you're not so sure what that looks like, give us a call, 582-FOOD. We'll assess you over the phone and let you know what your options are to donate.
I'm going to ask you to say that again slowly, though. Was it 582-FOOD?
Correct.
And I'm guessing that's a Nassau County 516 number?
631.
Oh, 631. See, it's good we took this out. So let's say it again slowly. 631.
582-FOOD.
Okay. And you'll tell the people if you come to them or they come to you. Now, are there stores or is it like I'm going to say like a Burger King, a franchise where if people have the food, do they have a box there that they could drop it off? Yep.
So there's ongoing sites that have food drive boxes that anybody in the public can donate to, and that list is on our website as well.
And are you going to tell us that website? Notice how I worked that right.
Yes, that was perfect.
I was just about to ask you that, so I wanted to find out.
licares.org.
licares.org. No periods, nothing in there, just licares.org.
Yep.
And Jessica, one last thing. Is there anything coming up that we should know? You mentioned about the summer concert.
Yep, Wild About Harry. And just take a look at our website. Subscribe to our newsletter. There's lots of great things going on. We have a really wonderful team who communicates on behalf of the organization. And so check it out and come see us. We'd love to get to know you.
And how about businesses? Can we invite them to take part? Maybe put a box in there, or if it's an accounting or law firm or architect?
The HIA Summer Food Drive is also going on right now, and that includes over 1,000 businesses on Long Island. So hopefully we'll be able to get some really great food
We got you
donated.
smiling, and that's good. That's our objective today. Jessica, we want to thank you for being here and let our audience know, and thank you, that our guest today has been Dr. Jessica Rosati. She is the Vice President of Programs at Long Island Cares, the Harry Chapin Regional Food Bank. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you.
I'm Bill Horan. We want to thank you for listening to this week's special edition of My Hometown.
We like to get your feedback on My Hometown. Send your comments to WHPC@ncc.edu. Nassau Community College, where success starts and continues. Till next time, this is Bill St. James. And remember, there's no town like your hometown.